welcome back to Marvel Maniac and MCU After Show. This is your host, Eric Cicada, aka Mr. Honest. I just watched Loki episode 4, the Nexus Event, and I couldn't wait. I couldn't take notes. I couldn't take notes. I had to just come and talk about the episode. I'm human. I'm a fan. I'm a maniac. I'm a fan of this show. I didn't need to take notes. I had to just come here and talk about this. I hope you enjoyed this show as much as I did. What did you think? Let us know your thoughts at Marvel Maniac Pod on Twitter, marvelmaniacpod@gmail.com. Send us your thoughts. Loki variants are everywhere these days. I noticed that there's one popping up in Fortnite. I don't know if there are any Fortniters. I will not take too much of your time with this. I don't advertise much these days, so I'll take this one advertisement. I do Twitch. I am a Twitcher at Mr. Honest Podcast. So twitch.tv/Mr. Honest Podcast. I Fortnite a lot on there. I will be playing the Loki variant skin that is coming out today. It's coming out today in the Fortnite crew pack. And so if you are interested in that, come by. I'll be repping that. And yeah, Marvel Maniac, I'll be talking. Come by, chat Loki with me. All things Loki, all week, everywhere, on all of my platforms, which is really exciting. It's super exciting that everything combined on all things I do, they just all are meshing into one giant thing. It all kind of works out. I get to play as Loki on Fortnite. I get to talk about Loki on this podcast. It's just super fun and collaborative. So yeah, if any of you are like super mixed into all that too, come hang out. It'll be really fun, and I'd love to have you there. Anyway, let's get into the episode. Loki, the Nexus Event. This episode starts with Asgard. We are in a familiar place, and it is good to see it. And we are with a little girl, and she's playing with toys, and you wouldn't think what is about to happen is going to happen to this girl. And we get to see Ravonna, a younger Ravonna, but not much younger. As Mobius says in previous episodes, time moves different at the TVA. So Ravonna drags young Sylvie through the time portal door, orange time portal door thing, and they destroy that version of Asgard, that timeline. Very dramatically shot. This episode is shot like an episode of Breaking Bad. I mean, but when this young Sylvie is brought through the TVA, it is shot from a lower angle, and we see her perspective of what Loki was seeing in the first episode, being brought through the TVA. And she sees like this poor man being dragged in, and she's like, help him, help this guy. We see her drag through the motions fairly quickly. We see her go through the guy at customs who says, is this your entire life? Probably not very long for her to read. Is this everything you've said? Poor girl. She has to go through the metal detector thing, saying, are you human or a copy? She goes to stand in front of a judge. There's another judge. She steps on Ravonna's foot in the courtroom, and she steals her time door thingy. And she opens the door. She runs away. And this is how she gets away. She looks Ravonna in the eye, and she gets away. And this is the scene, and this is the cold open, where Ravonna opens her eyes. This is present-day Ravonna. And she walks into the room with the timekeepers. And what we soon learn to be, at the end of the episode, a very Wizard of Oz scenario in which Loki perfectly describes, like, it never ends, right? And come on, right? I was perfectly fooled. Perfectly fooled. And I don't know if you were about the twist at the end of the episode. There was a post-credit scene, by the way. I will say that now. Anyone. There is a post-credit scene after the initial credits, about 2 or 3 minutes in. So go fast forward. I will be talking about that probably pretty soon. So go back to the episode now and go check that out. And it's very good. It's pretty significant. Go watch it. Go watch the post-credit scene. Warning, spoiler warning. Post-credit scene alert. I can't say it more now. Okay. Further into the episode. So, after we get our Loki title, right, we finally are catching up with Mobius. Good gosh. A man with a cause. A man who believes what he is fighting for. From the very beginning, he is just trying to ask what is going on to Ravonna. He wants to know what's going on with the Timekeepers, what they have to say about everything from the beginning when she's going to talk to them. And Mobius really wants to talk to C20 because recently, it was 2 episodes ago, but it was very recently that C20 was having this conversation, screaming and insisting that it's real. And Ravonna tells Mobius that C20 is dead, and he asks her how. And she says that when the variant, aka Sylvie, enchanted C20, that she scrambled her mind. This is where Ravonna starts to look the other way and gets shifty, and Mobius is this Owen Wilson plays Mobius so well, and like an innocent lost child. You love the guy. You love this character. I love this character. Ravonna plays Mobius very well, up to the point and up to the very end. But Mobius, man, he's like a hero. He is a hero because he believes in his cause. He's very much like Phil Coulson, in a sense. Back on the Mentis, you ask, how are they going to get out of it? How are Sylvie and Loki going to get out of this apocalypse without one of these time devices? And I'm thinking, are they going to track them there? How cheesy would it be for Mobius and Co. to track them there? It's cheesy, but cheesier maybe for them to find love, for them to fall in love, and for that to cause a Nexus event, and for that to have done it. But it worked, and I got the chills. I don't know. I really liked the scene. Sylvie says to Loki that she remembers Asgard. She does not much, but she remembers life. She remembers her home, her people, and her life. And this scene is so beautiful because the universe is. She says the universe wants to break free, so it manifests chaos, like her being born the goddess of mischief. And as soon as that created a big enough detour from the sacred timeline, the TVA showed up, erased her reality, and took her prisoner. Sylvie's entire life is kind of a tragedy, which makes her such a likable character. She's so tragic, and she's grown up at, like she said, at the end of 1,000 worlds, pretty much. Because she's not supposed to exist. Until she eventually figured out where to hide. That's where she grew up. End of 1,000 worlds. That almost sounds like a song, doesn't it? It's so awfully beautiful. And then this is where she says she's going to die. And they're looking out at this vast chaos, this world collapsing in on them. And at the TVA, we have Mobius and the entire crew. It's looking like a space station, pretty much. Everyone is just trying to figure out how to find Loki and Sylvie. B-15, Hunter B-15. I should have just gone to IMDb weeks before. I've referred to her as the bodyguard, the big awesome bodyguard lady. I've given her nothing but respect, but it's Hunter B-15, ladies and gentlemen. She's questioning her reality after what she's seen after Sylvie has entered her mind 2 episodes ago. We got a pretty good bottle episode, and to call it a bottle episode, this is no that 70s show, no leaving the house. I mean, nothing against that 70s show, but last week Lamentus was an epic thrill ride in my opinion. But so B-15 and Mobius are at the hub of the TVA, saying we need to find them, and they soon will. This planet is crashing into Lamentus. I like saying Lamentus. It's fun. I wonder if in the year 2070, in real time, there will be like a 10th Avengers movie coming out, and there will be like, is Lamentus, is the event happening right now, and should there be an Avengers movie actually preventing the Leventus actual event? Okay, let's move on. Oh my gosh. So the saddest thing, I know the saddest thing, but like this is what Sylvie has to say to Loki, and it's kind of like beautiful in a way, but also terrible and tragic. Lots of tragedy. Do you think that what makes a Loki is that the fact that we're destined to lose? And Loki says, no, we may lose, sometimes painfully, and he's very convicting in this, but we don't die, we survive. And he convinces her you did, and he tells her you were just a child when the TVA took you, and he has a great point, and he tells her you nearly took on an entire not civilization. Well, yeah, did he say civilization? Organization. Wasn't a civil. I mean, they're not a civilization, but kind of. I don't know. They're very weird. This TVA. Kind of like the Wizard of Oz. It's the best thing I got right now. It's very strange what's going on at the TVA at the end of this episode. Odd. When the world is crashing in on them and they're sharing this moment together, a huge spike happens at the computers at the TVA. So the Lokis, aka Loki and Sylvie, they share a moment. They're the same person, kind of like I don't. There's no telling, and they won't tell us if their mothers and fathers look identical. Technically, if they're the same exact DNA, they don't look alike at all. So, pretty much, probably not. And if the post-credit scene says anything, those were other Lokis. Final spoiler alert. Final spoiler alert. Those were also other Lokis in the post-credit scene. And okay, those look nothing like Loki. So I think like all the other mothers and fathers of those Lokis probably look different. Meaning, like, I think these Lokis can get together fairly. It'll be okay. When Mobius and Mobius catches Loki, and they're like dragging them down the hallways with handcuffs. They got Sylvie and Loki in handcuffs. It's really funny. They got like more guards on Sylvie than Loki, and Mobius is like, I know you got some quip ready. What's the quip? And Loki's like, I don't have any quip. I'm just thinking maybe you should have more guys on me than her. That's kind of an insult. And I mean, it's technically like not wrong. Like she's insanely more powerful in a way. I don't know. After what Loki showed last week on Lamentus, though, I mean, he is so powerful. I mean, I thought there were theories that he was going to maybe not even, that wasn't going to be real, that like he was just made the whole thing up to impress her. Come on. That's insane what he did. So Sylvie is being brought in like an insane, awesome badass that she is. You could tell that Mobius was hurt and betrayed by the way Loki left but just by the way he's treating Loki and talking to Loki in this interrogation. But another thing is, Mobius is very spooked by some of the information he's getting and immediately, and he doesn't. No one likes to question the nature of their reality, and this is uncomforting, not very comfortable stuff. When they enter the interrogation room, it's infinite time room on Asgard. It almost looks peaceful and like Loki's going to be happy here, but it's with Lady Sif from the first few Thor movies, and this is really exciting. And she punches she punches Loki in the face because he cut her hair, and she says, "You deserve to be here." She punches him and knocks him on the floor, and this happens over and over again, but like in different ways. He says, "Some punishment. I remember exactly what I did after that. I went and had a nice hot bath and a glass of wine, and I thought about it again because it was just a bit of fun." Loki, you never learn your lessons. This is why you're in this infinite time room. She says, "You cunning, craven, pathetic little worm." She punches him again. "I hope you know you deserve to be alone, and you always will be." Oh my God, Lady Sif getting revenge, punches him to the ground again. This is really good. I think this is almost like the same exact set as we get in Thor. We get a lot of extra Asgard. In this episode, which is really, really sick to see a little more Asgard. Maybe we'll get a little more. Maybe we'll get a little more in the next few. It seems we're going to be hopping into a few more universes in the next, not universes, maybe multiverse jumping, since that post-credit scene indicated somehow, I don't know. It seems like every other dead Loki falls into some other dimension when they die. It may seem every other dead variant falls into some trash compactor or like, what is it? Like, garbage disposal variant wasteland, where where they all fall. I don't know. Like where everyone gets zapped, they go to one place. So when Mobius enters Ravana's office, he has this kind of awkward conversation with her, but he doesn't realize it's awkward until later. He thinks about this later, but he is really into like just getting the job done at this point. But this plays a significant part later in him realizing that things are messed up here. He really wants to speak to the variant Sylvie. He wants to interrogate her because he thinks he can get information out of her. Why not? He can do his job. Mobius is smart. He can do his job great, but Ravana's like, no one will speak to that. No one will speak to that variant because Ravana knows. She'll convince Mobius 100% of the truth. And out in the hallway, we have B-15 completely sus of this whole thing at this point. And Moby's like, we brought Kree vampires in here. Why are two orphan demigods such a pain in the ass? It was your idea to bring in another one. So charming. I'm happy to share the credit for the idea. I love Mobius. I just love Mobius. Did Loki say anything? There's hope. There's hope for Mobius. After seeing that post-credit scene, there's freaking hope. I don't want to jump all over the place. I've tried to say in fair order of events in this episode. Oh my God, Mobius! I couldn't even believe it. My brother, who hasn't seen the show yet, God bless him, he almost walked out the moment it happened. I wanted to rewind it and watch it again, but I didn't want to spoil it for him, and my jaw was down to the floor. All he would have seen is like Owen Wilson disintegrating if I rewound it. Man, I couldn't even believe it, man. You don't want to be on my jet ski? Oh no, I couldn't do, dude. I actually said out loud, like, that was harsh. I was like, that was too much. That was too much. That was harsh. Honestly, dude, that hurt. That hurts. Dude, they got to bring him back. That can't stand. That can't stand. Mobius's death cannot stand. He did not deserve to die. At one point, Mobius comes back to bring Loki in to see if he's ready to talk. And Loki is. And he walks out into the interrogation room, and he tells him, fancy technology. It's ridiculous because Loki is actually broken. At one point, what Loki tells Lady Sif. Do you know what Loki tells Lady Sif, by the way? I have to go back and tell you what Loki tells Lady Sif. Rewind. Sorry. And I'm really happy with the flow of consciousness I have going here. I'm not going to cut. I'm just going to tell you what Loki tells Lady Sif. I'm a horrible person. I cut off your hair because I thought I'd be funny. I crave attention. And then he admits it. He says it because I'm a narcissist. That takes a lot for him. And then he says it again. And then he makes another big admittance. Because I'm alone. He says it. That's huge. This Loki is just this different Loki. Variant Loki. No. Whole different Loki. Full circle story. Sif offers her hand out. You think Loki's convinced Sif of something. And this Sif reaches in and she says, you are alone. And you always will be. And she doesn't even punch him. Because that hurts enough. And he is in so much pain. And then Mobius walks in. Oh my gosh. And Mobius walking in at that moment is so perfect. Holy smokes. This show is so... Man, I say it. This show's so fucking good. This interrogation, it's a lot more intense than the first one. In the first episode, there's a lot more on the line. And so basically, the first way this goes down is Mobius really convinces... You think Loki thinks he's convincing Mobius that he has plans to outplay this variant, and he's going to, he wants to convince Mobius that he has nothing to do with Sylvie, and he's going to outplay her. And Mobius double outplays him. Mobius double outplays him, and he tells him that they killed her, which you see Loki die inside when Mobius tells him this. He completely dies inside. And Mobius gets... You actually kind of are with Mobius on this. But Loki's I was pulling the strings all along. She came to Asgard long ago. But in a way, you're kind of with Loki at this time when he is doing these lies, because Mobius doesn't really give him an option. He's so pinned up against the wall. But dude, when Mobius is telling Loki about how B-15 had to stop it and he popped her, the way Loki reacts, and you actually feel that pain. Loki borderline loves Sylvie, because he loves himself. But dude, the way he reacts, he says, "Look at your eyes." He's like, "You like her? Does she like you?" This will cause a Nexus event. Both of you are swooning over each other. Tell me the truth. Two variants of the same being, especially you forming the same kind of sick, twisted romantic relationship. That pure chaos could only break reality. It's breaking my reality right now. What an incredible seismic narcissist, he calls him. Mobius keeps going in on Loki, kind of calling Sylvie his girlfriend, and this kind of leads up to Loki exploding, calling everyone at TVA variants, and saying that Sylvie can access your memories, and this is a really powerful moment. Mobius is looking Loki in the eye for the first time in the episode, listening to him, giving him the time of day, and you could tell deep inside he knows. And then he looks down and he says, "Nice try." And he just doesn't want to believe. That was good, you two. Nice pair. Gosh, unbelievable. Wherever you go, just death trail destruction. Jeez. So, Mobius is very back and forth on the fence of believing whatever Loki has to say. Mobius says him and Loki's interests are no longer aligned, and he's going to have to close the case now. He doesn't need him anymore. Loki said, there are many liars in this place, and Mobius, you are the biggest. And Mobius says, why? Because I lied about your girlfriend. And Loki says, no, that I can respect. I mean the lies you tell yourself. And you can tell that hits Mobius. He looks over his shoulder. Mobius hits me in the feels. He's so innocent. He doesn't know. And then we have B-15 in the hallway outside of Sylvie's interrogation room. She goes into Sylvie's interrogation room with her disintegration baton. And she asks, she says, your name's a number. And she walks up. Sylvie is so freaking badass. She walks up to B-15, and B-15 opens the door, and she says, follow me. Come with me. Ravonna and Mobius are clinking glasses because they figured out what caused the Nexus Event, and they got both the variants, so technically the timekeepers are happy. And this is when Mobius starts to question why he couldn't ask and question the other variant. She kind of takes a jab at him at first, like he messed up one of the missions, and he's like, ouch. But then she's like goes at from the angle she's trying to protect him, and like because she messed up C-20's mind, and she didn't want that to happen to him. And she's like, you're hanging out with too many Lokis, and she tries to convince him we're fighting for the sacred timeline, and blah 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 blah. Mobius really is kind of seeing through her at this point. Loki is pure in what he said, and when someone's telling you the truth compared to a blatant liar, it's just when Loki is such a liar. I guess like the point of this is Mobius has studied Loki's life top to bottom, and he knows when he's lying. And he was telling him the truth there. So like, I just love that. I love that this is what gives Mobius I think, in my opinion, that's how Mobius knows Loki's telling the truth in this. And this is where in this moment in the office, Mobius decides to take Ravonna's temp pad and instead of his, replace it, and he decides to look a little bit into the truth for himself, and that is his choice. I appreciate that. B-15 takes Sylvie to Rock's cart, and she says, I saw something that night. What did you do to me? And she said, I showed you your life before the TVA. And she's like, that's a trick. It's a deception. And she's like, no, it's not. She said, I was created by the timekeepers, and I can't create memories. I can only use what's already there. The timekeepers took your lives from you. So, your variants. So B-15 this is a beautiful performance by the actress from B-15. Let's give a shout out to Wonmi Masaku. Big shout out to Wonmi Masaku. Killer. Sophia DiMartino for Sylvie. Tom Hiddleston. Loki. Gugu Mabutha Ravonna. Richard E. Grant on the cast list. Erica Coleman. Florence Schaefer. Kaylee Fleming. Young Sylvie. John Levine. I'm just going to go down the list. Paperwork clerk. Aaron Belliner. Robot scanner. Good job, everyone. Great job. Great cast. I should read the cast a little bit more. Lady Loki, Sylvie, unravels B-15's. I swear to gosh, I almost said B-52. B-15's like inner potential, and she asks Sylvie's what's next. Mobius goes to a library and looks at this temp pad to find out what really happened to C-20. And at this point, I'm like, is he gonna like get attacked by one of these timekeepers like behind like the shelf, these bookshelves? Like, I'm scared for his life here. So this isn't good already. I already get these bad freaky vibes. I'm not in I'm just not. I'm not feeling good about it. So on the little tiny, you think they have a bit better of a screen, but on the screen, she says, "I had a whole life on the sacred timeline, and that was a memory. And I lived down there. I went to that bar. I had friends. I had a whole life. And then you see Ravana lean into her on the camera." This freaks Mobius out, so he knows there's just lying. He knows there is lying happening here, clear lying, and it's happening directly to his face, and he can't have any more of it. So he goes back to Loki and he asks him, "Do you really think you deserve to be alone?" And he says, "I don't know." And he says, "You better figure out quick, because the Nexus event, whatever that connection is between the two of you, can bring this whole place down. Do you swear she didn't implant those memories on C20? And Loki says, "I believe her." And he says, I have to trust the word of two Lokis." And he's like, "How about the word of a friend?" Loki says, "Mobius and Loki." He says, "You were right about the TVA." Mobius tells Loki, "You were right from the beginning. And if you want to save her, you need to trust me. Can we do that?" I got chills reading these lines. Yes. Okay. So he says, "So be whoever you want to be," Mobius tells Loki, "even someone good." He's like Obi-Wan Kenobi. I mean, just in case you want to be different. Loki smiles at Mobius. This was such. I had to go back to press the scene on just to bring up these emotions in me again. Ravana is out here. "I think you have something that belongs to me." And she says, "I got all the way down here before you even realized I picked up yours." They don't even give him benefit of the doubt. There's no way for them to really know that wasn't an accident. She just instantly knows. He says, "What's the problem, Ravana?" Loki looks dead in the eyes, and he knows exactly what's happening. Where I'd go if I can go anywhere, and so does Mobius. Where I'm really from, yeah, wherever I had a life before the TVA came along. Maybe I had a jet ski. Yeah, that's where I'd like to go, just riding around on my jet ski. And she says, "Prune him." Oh my gosh! And he just disintegrates. It's just it's not fair. It's not freaking fair. Okay. I'm so mad at this. And you know what? Ravana is mad at this too. You could tell she fully blames Loki for this. But she is not good. She looks up at the sky at this moment. Up at the sky. So I don't know. Whoever's controlling all this is up there somewhere watching. Where are they? What are they in? Who's watching? How are they controlling it? How are they controlling the time? Very interesting. Very interesting. Loki is brought to the same room as Sylvie, and Ravana realizes that B-15 is gone, so she realizes that she puts out an alert for her. Sylvie is escorted by two guards along with Loki. They are both going to be brought to the Timekeepers. Now, this is our, in quotes, a final showdown. Sylvie asks Loki if he is okay. And, I'm not okay at this point. I'm so nervous. All these theories from New Rockstars and Screen Crush, my favorite YouTube channels. We got a lot of King the Conqueror talk. King the Conqueror is the big, in quotes, next Thanos of the MCU possible. You look him up and figure that out for yourselves if you want to think that. Sylvie asks Ravana if she remembers her, and Ravana says, "You want to speak to me, variant?" And then Sylvie asks, "What was the Nexus event that created me? You wanted to kill this little girl. What was the Nexus event?" And Ravana says, "I don't even remember." Ravana is a cold lady. She's cold. Ravana don't care. She's like a gangster. And the look on her face, oh my God, the smirk. She says, "I don't remember." And she smiles. Dude, she's bad. She's bad news, is Ravana. And then this layer they enter, it's actually smoky, intimidating, but if you really think about it, it's like a haunted house. very overtop done haunted house. I am actually, though, in the moment of all this, completely bought into this shit. Gracious timekeepers, as promised, the variants. And so are Loki and Sylvie. They're bought into this. After all your struggle, at last you've arrived before us. What do you have to say for yourselves before you meet your end variants? Their voices are very deep. Their faces are kind of like CGI-y. And they say to kill us. And he says, I've lost track of the number of times I've been killed, so go ahead, Loki says. Do your worst. And is that your bravado is no threat to us variant? They look like bigger and bolder creatures, you know, like they look intimidating, kinda, you know, not crazy, but like I'm ready to see a fight. They tell them they're nothing but a cosmic disappointment and to delete them. Like I said, no, I'm not done with you yet. And Sylvie runs towards them, and Ravonna tries to stop Sylvie, but like gets stopped. And then that's because B-15 runs through the elevator and disconnects the restraints around Loki and Sylvie's necks. I said that funny. She says for all time and throws a sword to Sylvie and starts fighting the other guards. Protect the timekeepers, Ravonna says, and there's an all-out fight between the guards, Sylvie, and Loki. This is where the real fight happens. The timekeepers just look on, kind of like, I guess you'd say Palpatine. I don't mean to make so many Star Wars references. Oh my gosh, this is a Marvel Maniac podcast. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This fight is epic. Loki takes some swings. This is pretty much like your basic classic sword fight. You get a Sylvie and Ravonna standoff. They get some digs in at each other here. She says, it's time I finish the job. They go, they swing, they jab, they jive. Loki gets two of the guards out completely. The fight is all completely won once Sylvie gets Ravonna on the ground. And then one of the timekeepers says, we can talk, and you're like almost laughing, you're rooting, I'm cheering. And Sylvie throws the spear and takes the head off of one of them, and it's a robot. It's a freaking robot. We don't know what? A robot? A robot. Are you serious? So you're telling me that these things aren't even real? There's something or someone else controlling all of this, and this is misleading droids. That's what Sylvie says, and Loki sums it all up. He says it never stops. He basically breaks the fourth wall when he says this. He basically breaks the fourth wall. He says, then who created the TVA? He's answering the questions for us. She says, I thought this was it. Sylvie says, I'm like, what? Guys, what is going on here, people? Can I get some tweets at Marvel Maniac Pod? Literally, what's happening? I'm literally so they're standing there in disbelief. I'm standing here in disbelief. Gifts of this moment. She says, not a pep talk, and he says, I have to tell you something. We will figure this out. And she asks how he knows this, and he says, we made it back from Lamentus. You know, and that's true. That's an amazing point. Did you see Lamentus? Lamentus was completely obliterated. And as he's leaning in, I mean, I'm like literally the second time I'm like about to tell you this, and I'm like kind of watching it and telling you this. He gets disintegrated by Ravonna ruins everything, Slayer. Okay? And she tells Sylvie to do it. Because Sylvie takes the spear right from her and puts it right in her face. But no, Sylvie says, no, you're gonna tell me everything. And that oh my God, do you know the conviction? The conviction. Sylvie, Sophia Di Martino, where have you been all my life? You are unbelievable as Sylvie. Oh my gosh. Now we get our post-credit scene here. And it is a few minutes after. I've been waiting for a post-credit scene. It's kind of like WandaVision and Falcon Winter Soldier. Maybe not in Falcon and Winter Soldier. I don't know if I'm remembering right here. Might be wrong on Falcon and Winter Soldier. I called it Hawkeye and Winter Soldier multiple times before. Dude, let's look at this post-credit scene real quick here. Okay, this is clearly where last week's episode was ending for me because my music's kicking in. I must be having a fun time talking about this freaking episode. This must be a good one. So the post-credit scene is like another Avengers, except it's all Loki's. Loki wakes up and he asks, "Is this hell?" So it's Loki. It's the same Loki. It's not another variant. It's not just a different Loki. It's the Loki we just lost because he asked if he's dead. And they said not quite yet. But unless you come with us. Okay, so then we see other variants of Loki. Why? How do we know there are other variants? Okay, I only can tell you the two on the right. The far right is this older one. He's in this comic book classic, old Loki, old comic book Loki. I don't know much about this one, but he looks cranky. Then we get this middle, younger version of him. They all have the horns, but there's one on the left. He might be like an older, old Black Thor. I don't know what's going on with this guy. Is he Loki or Thor? Because he's a hammer. I don't know what the hammer means, but he looks badass. This episode is mind-boggling in and out of itself. I don't know what to think because Mobius is gone, and that was a big character death. And I thought, like, at the end of the episode, I was going to have to process that this Loki had died after all this character development, and then we got to see that he didn't. So there's some sort of realm that the characters go to immediately after they get kicked out of the variants. So the variants go somewhere after they get zapped. So I'm like kind of blown away by that too. Where is that? Where are they going? Is it the quantum realm? My first thought is the quantum realm. My first thought is that these variants are in the quantum realm. It's a trap within the quantum realm. It's some sort of a hex. I have no idea. This is so cool. We have to go to Reddit. Marvel. Jason31 says first mention of actual vampires aside from Thor Ragnarok. Testing for Blade. Cool. Awesome. Wonton Jr. says second mention. I believe Korg actually mentioned it in Thor Ragnarok. So Blade is going to bring plenty of vampire stuff in when we get him. The Unknown 98 says Sylvie with 3 guards. Meanwhile, Loki only has 2. By the way, I should have equal amount of security. This is insulting. Classic Loki. Sylvie probably should have been thinking this isn't about him. Unknown, a great point. We got Valar Pizzerias that says, bruh, the Lorax from Dr. Seuss is a fucking timekeeper. That's hilarious. I saw him. I didn't even think about that. We got Ralph Skipperson that says, I see how starting a relationship with a parallel version of yourself can definitely cause a massive time fuck up. Dude, that's crazy. Someone says, Hello World says, was that an alligator Loki? Yes, it was. I'm reading these comments. They're so funny. We brought in Kree, Titans, Vampires. A-Bay says, setting up Blade, I see. Really excited for that Marvel project. Yes, dude, I can't wait. Listen, this has been fantastic. And we have 2 final episodes of Loki to go. 2 more, I think, really exciting, intense, wonderful episodes. I put all my money on it, and I'm not a rich man by any means, so that's not saying much, but I am a huge fan of Marvel, and I have been from day one watching Iron Man in theaters, and I'll be here on Marvel Maniac as long as I can with you for every Marvel project from here on out. We've been here since WandaVision, and I hope you enjoyed today's show. I'd love for you to let me know your thoughts on today's episode at Marvel Maniac Pod on Twitter. Let me know your thoughts. MarvelManiacPod@gmail.com. And if you'd like to donate to the show, it all goes back into it. Mr. Honest Podcast @gmail.com, at Mr. Honest Podcast on PayPal. All of it on PayPal right now is the best place. All the support means the world. When you go and you rate that show, it makes the show go up on the charts, and it makes my heart explode with happiness. So thank you so much. It is the greatest form of appreciation you can give back to me as a creator. I hope you had fun watching tonight's episode of Loki, the Nexus Event, and the next two are sure to be a wild ride. Remember, Black Widow, July 9th, 2021. You're going to be able to see that in theaters, but also on Disney Plus Premiere, which is going to be, I believe, $20 out of your pocket. For me, that's going to be the way to go. So I'm going to be able to cover it the night it comes out, which I'm super excited for. Anything can happen in any Marvel movie at any time, and that's why we are Marvel Maniacs. We will see you next week for Loki episode 5. You all have a wonderful week, and until then, Avengers, disassemble.